Hello and welcome back. This week we have the lovely Talia Dendy from On the Other Side, who a few years ago herself was diagnosed with cancer and has used this experience to now channel that pain into helping others who are in the same position that she was in before. Welcome and hello, Talia, and thank you very much for your time today. Do you want to share with us your story?
Good morning, Mhairi. Thanks for having me. Basically, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2011, actually April 8th, 2011 to be exact. I still have that date ingrained in my brain. So basically, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma and nodular sclerosis, and I had to go through 6 months of chemotherapy and then 1 month of radiation to complete my treatment. And as I sit here today, I'm cancer free. So I'm very happy about that. It wasn't the best experience of my life, but I'm happy that things, turned out really well.
Mm-hmm. So you had Hodgkin's lymphoma. How did you feel at the time when you were diagnosed? Can you remember the emotional upset?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can remember it like it was yesterday. Basically, when I got the call from the nurse, I was really shocked because I thought that I was fairly healthy. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, so there was a big, the weight of shock. Once I got past the shock, it was sadness, like what's going on? Where did this come from? What did I do wrong to get cancer? And then, of course, fear set in because I didn't know what to expect. And just knowing and hearing certain things about cancer, we're kind of taught to think in a lot of ways that it could possibly lead to a death sentence. Mm-hmm. So, there was just so many emotions going through: sadness, fear, shock. I wasn't sure how I was going to tell my family, so I was concerned about that as well. Mm-hmm. But really, it was shock and fear more than anything. And just, what did I do wrong? What did I do to cause the cancer? But now that I'm more educated about it, there's really nothing that I did wrong.
I think that's very common, actually. A lot of people feel guilty or that they did or didn't do something. And I love the fact that you've confirmed that, no, you didn't do anything wrong. How did you deal with it at the time?
Basically, I cried, of course. After I kind of cried, I called my family and told them what I had learned, that I had cancer. I prayed, I found out on a Friday. So thankfully, I was heading into the weekend and I had time to just really take in the information that I had just received and to work through all of my emotions, which were a vast range of emotions from sadness, fear, anger. And again, like I said, I just prayed. I spent the whole weekend at home just trying to get my mind and myself together so that when I started the treatments, I could be mentally prepared for that to the best of my ability. And that's so critical. I think it's very important for people to work through their emotions early on, if they can. Do not suppress any feeling that you have because you really have to clear that out and let all of that out to create a space for hope, for the fighter in you to come out, for positive self-talk, and just to be able to take in all the information that's going to be coming your way.
So that sounds like the perfect plan to me, but physically, how did you let go of your emotions?
Physically, I cried. I did a lot of walking. I love to walk. For me, walking is very therapeutic. I got a lot of hugs from my family. That really helped. That kind of helped deal with the situation and the emotions a little bit better. But for me, it was walking. I did not want to just sit down and not do nothing and spend all of my time thinking about it. Mm-hmm. I feel like moving is so critical when you're diagnosed with cancer and going through treatments. I understand that there's going to be days when you're really tired, but each day you have to do something. Don't sit there, because I feel like if you do that, the cancer will take over. You have to keep moving and do things that make you feel good. If it's watching movies, if it's writing in a journal, um, things of that nature. I did so many different things. I also did a lot of strength training at the gym. So that really helped as well.
Yeah, yeah. How did your family deal with it?
Oh my gosh, it was really tough, I think, for my mom especially. She put on a brave face, of course, but I know that she was really worried and concerned because none of us had really been touched by cancer before. And so, of course, the weight of uncertainty, and that creates anxiety. So, my mom was shocked. She was sad, and of course my brother, he was very sad and shocked as well. We all just didn't understand why and what was happening, you know, what caused this, and that was the big question for us.
Yeah. There's a lot of questioning, there's a lot of why in there. Did you
Yeah.
find any answers to your questions?
I did some research about cancer, and the type of cancer that I had, there really wasn't any specific cause of it. It's just that sometimes your cells kind of go crazy and they attack the good cells, and there you have it. Your immune system, it just isn't able to fight those
Yeah.
crazy erratic cells off.
Yeah. Now, the body's pretty remarkable, and we fight off those crazy rogue cells almost every day.
Yeah.
But sometimes they take over. You're absolutely right. Now, you remind me your background. You're not a medical professional. Where did you worked in corporate America for a while?
I worked in corporate America in supply chain, so
Yes.
no medical background. Um,
Oh,
And when I got diagnosed with cancer, I said, hey, I better learn about this and I better learn fast because I wanted to be able to advocate for myself and have clear conversations with my oncologist so that he would understand that, hey, I'm taking, control of my health. We're a team, and we're going to have a dialogue back and forth. It's not just going to be that, hey, this is the treatment we're going to give you. Let's talk about, are there other options? What are the side effects? I also invested in a medical dictionary just because when I got certain reports, I wanted to know what it is they were talking about.
that's very
Because
smart.
yes, because sometimes they would use a lot of words, of course, that the average person just doesn't, they're not aware of those words. They're not in the everyday language. So I wanted to be able to dissect my reports and be able to understand what they were saying so that if I had questions, I could go to my oncologist and speak in my language.
Yeah.
And that really helped us to develop really a partnership.
Yeah. I think that's really important. So you invested in a medical dictionary. Were there other resources, online resources that you found at the time that helped you?
Yes, I read a book called Anti-Cancer. I read that book. And then, like most people do, I went online and researched a lot of different websites. I found it early on that you want to look for credible websites, because you can get a lot of conflicting information that can add to the stress and anxiety. And you read some of the information, and they'll have you thinking you're dying as we speak. So it's like you just have to find credible resources to get the information that you're looking for.
So how did you distinguish between what was a credible resource and what was not? That's a really
Sure.
point, actually. 'Cause I'm sure a lot of people watching this will be thinking, yeah, how do you know?
So basically, what I did was I looked for articles and documents that were written by medical doctors, specific journals that came from universities, different articles about research that came from, again, universities, doctors, oncologists. And then, of course, I referred to the American Cancer Society website, cancer.net, a lot of different websites that provide that kind of information.
So armed with your medical dictionary, you felt able to understand these research articles?
Yes, I did. And then also by reading these certain articles and documents, it helped to trigger more questions that I could ask my oncologist
Yeah.
also, and then it was really helpful to just hear about different findings and hearing doctors discuss what they're seeing in various patients that have been affected by cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And then that helps you to kind of feel like you're able to relate a little bit better to your diagnosis, and to see that some of the things you're going through are not foreign just to you, but there are other cancer patients who are going through some of the same things.
Yeah. And every patient is different and every experience is different, but there are certain commonalities that can be helpful to know that you're not alone, that you're not the only person going through that. What
Yes.
do you think for you? What was the hardest thing that you had to deal with at that time?
For me, Mhairi, the hardest thing was really watching my mother go through this with me.
Oh, wow.
Just seeing the stress and the worry that she was carrying, that was really hard for me. I felt guilty actually because of that. My mom actually lost more weight than I did. And even though she always put on a brave face, I knew that she was, very concerned. And that was the hardest part for me. Just seeing what it was doing to my mother, that's tough.
She must be thrilled to see you now, 8 years on.
Yes.
8 years on and cancer free.
Yes, very happy. And she just can't really, she always says, I can't believe how well you got through that, And I said, well, I had good support like you. So
she loves you.
yes,
So,
yes.
what do you think was the thing that helped you the most to heal?
Mhairi, I think the thing that helped me the most was just trying to stay as positive as possible, but then also just the best emotions that came throughout the day, and not trying to suppress whatever it was that I was feeling. Stay positive, but sometimes in order to stay positive, you have to let out, the sadness, the anger. You have to just let those things out. So just trying to balance my emotions. Another thing that helped me was journaling, writing in my journal every day about what I was experiencing. And even today, sometimes I go back and I can reflect on that journal. And if I think I'm having a bad day, I look back and say, oh no, today's not a bad day. That was a bad day. So journaling, I still try to work out as much as I could. Of course, as I got further along in the treatments, my strength and energy, got worse. But I still try to walk on the treadmill for 30 minutes. I still try to do weightlifting, not heavy weights. And then also, again, walking. Walking was really, really critical for me because it just helped to create a space of peace and help to create clarity as well.
I'm fond of a nice meditative walk out in the countryside, just to clear the cobwebs away from my brain. Is there anything that you wish you'd known? So thinking of what you know now, anything you wish you'd known then?
Everything about cancer, everything. I wish I had known then what I know now, everything about cancer, because, I came into this very green. I didn't know a whole lot about cancer. So now I feel very educated about it. I can have a good discussion with other people about cancer. I can actually educate other people about cancer. So really just knowing all the things that come along with cancer. I wish I had known that. Mm-hmm. Another thing that's really important, I think, for a lot of people who have been recently diagnosed or, are going through treatment right now, or even in survivorship, is that I wish I had known that certain people that you think love and care about you, and they do, they don't show up. For me, that was very heartbreaking when certain people didn't show up and support me. But as time went on, I had to let that go because I had to realize that it probably wasn't about me. They probably didn't know how to deal with it. They probably didn't know what to say. They didn't want to say the wrong things. They may not have wanted to see me going through that, losing my hair, losing weight, things like that come along with cancer. They probably just didn't have the capacity. Some people just don't have the capacity to deal with cancer because it's a lot.
Yes.
And that is one of the things that I want people to take away from this. You have to forgive those people because I don't think that it's intentional. They don't know what to do.
I think that's so true. I hear this time and time again where people tell somebody they've got cancer, and then the person they're telling is the person who breaks down in tears, and you're left thinking, hang on, it's not you that's got cancer, it's me. Don't cry. I'm the one having to be strong for everyone else. When actually, what you need as the person who's been diagnosed is them to be there for you to help and care for you and support you. But people, you're right, it's a big issue, isn't it? And it instills a lot of fear, I think, still, and people don't understand how to cope with that. Because I think you're right. You said it earlier on. We think of it as a death sentence, and it's not these days. Or not necessarily. It can be, but it's not necessarily a death sentence anymore. And I think it's important to remember that.
Yes.
So you said also that you can use all this information that you've gleaned that you wish you'd known then. You now use to help educate other people. So you no longer work in your corporate job in supply chain. Can you tell us a bit about what you do, what On the Other Side is?
Yes, so basically, I left corporate America in November of 2018 to pursue cancer coaching on a full-time basis. And what that means is that I help cancer patients take care of the emotional side of cancer. The doctors are taking care of the cancer itself, but a lot of times patients are left alone to cancer disease, I believe.
I'm sorry, can I pause you there and ask you to repeat that bit from a lot of time cancer patients are left alone too, because then the internet connection went. And I want people to hear what you said.
Yes, a lot of times cancer patients are left alone to work through all of the different things that they're feeling, thinking. And I think it's very important for people to realize that, yes, cancer is a physical disease. It affects your body, of course, but there's a mental component that comes along with that I don't think a lot of people are aware of, or they don't think about it.
Yeah.
And my job as a cancer coach is to help patients work through those emotions and to serve as a resource for them and someone who understands what it is that they're going through. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times that's challenging for cancer patients as well, is being able to talk to someone that understands. That is so critical because a lot of times cancer patients don't want to feel like a burden on other people. They don't want to, put all their feelings off on someone else. We just want to have people that understand, but that's not always the case. And that can make, communication and your relationships very difficult. So that's very important. I also do research for cancer patients. And what I mean by that is if they have questions about their type of cancer, the type of treatments that they've been given by their oncologist, if they have questions about that and want to learn more about that. I also help them to find resources. If they're struggling with finances, transportation, if they need help finding support groups, things of that nature, I help them with that as well.
And that's fantastic work. It really is such important work. And having somebody to listen to, but who has time to listen to you, and who understands what you're going through is so important. And I think you said that people don't always know or understand about the importance of mindset. I think that's it. It's about knowing the importance of it and how it can have such a huge impact on your healing journey, can't it?
Yes. And it's very important, as you just mentioned, because the body and the mind work together. And, I truly believe that if you're able to try to have a good mindset, that will actually help your recovery. that will boost your immune system and it will help to fight the cancer a lot better. And you have to have the tools also to create a positive or a cancer fighting mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those tools could be meditation. It could be physical activity, positive affirmations, talking to other people, just getting it all out, um, walking, doing things that you enjoy. All of those things help to create a more positive mindset. Now, I don't want people to think that I'm saying every day is going to be perfect. You have to be happy all the time. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you have to work on trying to stay positive so that you can fight this thing with everything that you got. Because if you're feeling down every day, you're not in a good mood every day, you can't think clearly.
Yeah.
And it's helping your immune system to fight this thing. So,
and that's scientific backing for that as well. There's a field called psychoneuroimmunology, and it's how your psychology impacts your neurobiology, which impacts your immunology. So yeah, all based in science. So if people wanted to find out more about you or get in touch and recruit your services, where would they go to find out more?
They can find me at www.ontheotherside.life, and that's all one word. Again, www.ontheotherside.life. And I call it On the Other Side because I've made it to the other side, and I want to provide support so cancer patients can make it to the other side as well, because there is a happy and healthy life on the other side of cancer. And I think it's hard for people that are currently going through it to see that.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant, and we'll put a link to that website in the notes below this interview as well on the blog post. Talia, thank you so very much for your time today. It's been wonderful hearing your story. I love the fact that you have not just taken it as, oh, I've got cancer and that's it, but you've taken that experience and you've turned it around and you're using it to help and channel that pain into purpose to help other people. Thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you, Mhairi. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.